Welcome back to the channel. Now, thank you for joining here at Unapologetic Progressive. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and his new budget proposal, at least part of it, having to do with HUD housing and Section 8 vouchers. Now, HUD housing and Section 8 are around because rent is sometimes too expensive for people, especially these days. And the Trump administration is looking to almost entirely cut the entire budget of Section 8 and Section 8 vouchers and HUD housing. These cuts would basically eliminate a lot of people's housing assistance. He is looking at basically getting rid of upwards of 60% of the federal government's money to the states for HUD housing in Section 8. Now, that would leave, the states having to come up with the other 60%. Now, we all know that most states can't afford that. Most states can't afford cuts to federal programs where where they basically go half and half in a way, right? There's a reason the federal government does these programs because states generally don't always have the funds to cover them, especially your southern states, your red states. Many of your red states don't have the money to cover this stuff by themselves. But let's be clear, this hasn't passed Congress. This is just a budget proposal, and it's very likely that this will not make it into the final budget, right? There's a very big chance this doesn't make it into the final budget because the majority that the Republicans have in the House is so razor thin that all it's going to take is a few defections on this particular issue, and the whole budget will be blown. So I don't think it's going to pass, but we should at least make contact to our congressmen, our state, our U.S. House representatives or senators, and make it clear that we do not support any kind of cuts to HUD, especially when it comes to Section 8 vouchers. Other programs are going to be affected by this, though. It's not going to just affect people on Section 8 or that are on Section 8 vouchers. This will affect people in HUD facilities for disabled people and apartment complexes. I used to live in a HUD complex that was meant for disabled people, and it was a form of Section 8, but it was a subsection of Section 8, and that would still be affected because it's still Section 8. This could literally put millions of people on the street overnight, and there's no way they would be able to survive that. Donald Trump spent months and years railing against California and how they haven't done anything about the unhoused population, the homeless population in their areas. Yet, while California was struggling with that and trying to find ways to solve it, things have gotten worse throughout the country. Homelessness is at epidemic proportions in America right now. It's some of the highest homelessness we've seen, since the Great Depression. And there's no depression, right? But people are homeless because the rent's just too expensive. They need help sometimes. Also, this would affect people that are trying to buy their first home because HUD offers assistance to certain people trying to buy homes based on your income, and you got to prove that you can pay. You're gonna be able to pay the mortgage and stuff like that. You got to be able to show your ability to make the payments. But they help with closing costs. Now, honestly, I don't see problems with any of these programs. These are programs that actually benefit your local community. They benefit people. They benefit the country at large. Because giving somebody a home, whether that be housing assistance that allows them to pay their rent at a rate that they can afford, or you help people get their first home, you're creating stability. You create stability. You allow people to raise themselves up out of poverty. You give people that option. You give people that ability, that hope. You give people stability. They don't tend to get into alcohol and drugs as often. You give people stability. They stay out of crime. People that have a good, sturdy home are usually good people in your community. They don't usually commit crimes. They're not usually a problem. The more people that own homes, for example, through either through HUD or whoever, the more people that own homes in a community, the more connection they have to that community, and the less likely they're to commit crimes against that community. It's common sense. But Donald Trump wants to make cuts to that. So I don't know if anyone that watches my channel is receives Section 8 assistance or not. But like I said, if you do not be scared at this point, right? This hasn't passed. It's just a budget proposal, and we know how budgets can be. Presidents put a lot of stuff into budgets that don't ever come to fruition. But we do have to be mindful. We do have to know this is a potential possibility because Republicans do control Congress. But reach out to your representatives, make sure that they know that you don't support any cuts to HUD housing and Section 8. Anyhow, thank you for watching. I'll see you down the road.